Thank you for joining. And we have done decently in terms of covering few interesting topics in understanding the 8.7 version of Pega, right? And yesterday we covered something called as a report definition. How exactly a report definition can be created? Where exactly can I utilize a report definition in order to fetch records from a database? I can use a report definition. Also, if I want to, you know, uh, use that as a source on a certain field, I can utilize a report definition. We also understood that obj browse also does pretty much exactly similar task, but from a performance standpoint, the recommended approach always is going with report definition. Also, something which we understood was there is px retrieve report data which gets called whenever you try to use a report definition at the backend. These are from some important aspects which we need to remember when it comes to report definition. Anything in terms of extracting data from database, when you are encountered, you will be using report definition, where you have a list of data to be extracted from database. Perfect. So with that understanding, we'll take one step ahead and we'll try to see what's our next topic which we will be discovering. So the next topic which we will be taking a look at is, you know, field value. Field value, uh, let us create a sheet for that. New Google Docs. Perfect. So field value is something we'll be trying to understand. What is field value, right? Before we go there, let's try to run our flow and try to see how exactly our flow looks like. So we have created a flow rule called customer flow, which captures the customer information as well as the vehicle information to some extent, right? Did we do that? We did capture customer information and personal vehicle information in this flow. Yes or no? Right. Okay, perfect. So we are good here. It's a very basic flow. There is a start shape, there is an end shape, which tells me the flow is starting at this point and ending at this point. And there are a couple of assignments, in the sense, couple of screens where the user has to perform some action, right? We have seen that. So let's try to run this again and see, try to visualize it and see if there is any room for improvement, right? So I created one more case out of this particular flow, and we will see a certain aspect as part of this flow which we want to modify or tweak, and we'll understand how exactly can we do that. Perfect. So when we came here on this screen, what do we see? We see that the customer details section is getting populated and stuff like that. Let's not worry about this. Let's slightly come towards here and see what all do we see here. Here we see that the case ID got assigned to this particular work object, which is 4001. Very nice. And then I also see few other properties. Let's not worry about the other properties. Let's focus on one such property, which is status. Whenever we try to order something, for example on Amazon, when you try to order a product, it has one journey, right? Whenever the status changes, for example, if it is uh, if the order is completed, it tells order is completed. If it is out for procurement, you will see the status is out for procurement. And in the same way, if you see, if it is out for delivery, the status, you will get a message telling that your item is out for delivery. And the status also, when you try to open your order ID, you will see that out for delivery will be the status. Once it is delivered, you will see delivered. And sometimes they also attach a picture where exactly it is kept outside your door. When you don't accept it, they will take a picture and they will send you. Yes or no? Have you seen this? Right, perfect. So let us think this is also a flow, right? Very exactly similar to Amazon, like it also has different stages. This flow also has different stages, but the current status for it we see is new here, right? Let's try to submit this and see what does it show next, right? So if you see, the status is still new, right? The status is still new right now. This particular flow, in the flow, the screen is right now in personal in vehicle section, still the status is new. Do you agree? It is showing as new. Yes, no, right? The status is still new. Let me submit it and let us see what the status is now. The status, you completed it, still the status is telling new, which is not right. It is not giving me a clear understanding about what has happened with this case. The status is still new, though I have completed it. The status is telling it is new. This shouldn't be, this doesn't look right to me. Don't you think we have to modify it? It's like when you order something on Amazon, even after that it is delivered, it is telling it is in your cart. Does it make sense, guys? Yes, no? It doesn't make sense, right? We have to, this status should be matching to the place where it belongs. For example, when it starts, of course it is new. Second, when it moves here, it should be something different. For example, if the customer information has to be updated, then I should be telling pending customer info. Yes or no? Yes or no, guys? If the customer info has to be provided, right? And then the same way in personal vehicle also, when the case moves from here to this stage, it should tell me personal vehicle info pending or pending personal vehicle info, something like that, which makes more sense, like which makes sense when this when the flow is here, it should give me a status which makes sense with this particular assignment, which is not happening right now. That is a drawback, or that is a, a feedback which we can see from the current case process, the workflow, the flow which we have designed. In that we see that there is this gap. I think we can work on that. So to work on such statuses, Pega provides a rule which is called as field value rule. The field value rule can be used to control case status, or it is also called as work status, or it is also called as work object status, or you can also refer it as field value. What is the purpose of this thing? The purpose of this rule is to know the current status of a transaction. Yes or no? By when you look at a customer, your Amazon order with your transaction, you will know what is your current status, out for delivery, or delivery got delayed for some such and such reason, something like that. You know, perfect. So these statuses can be anything. For example, new, comma, open, comma, resolved, comma, completed. All these are statuses. Pega knows that these statuses are necessary. So it Pega gives you few predefined statuses. We can see that. For example, the new which you are seeing right now, so the new status which you are seeing right now, you didn't define it. Pega automatically gave this to you. Yes or no? Yes or no, guys? Right. How do I know what is the status of this work object? Let me open my clipboard. Let me open my clipboard and go to my py work page to see what is the real status of this particular work object. There is a property, a out of the box property called py status work. What is the value for this thing for PY status work? Is it not new, guys? So Pega uses this out of the box property. We studied PX, PY, and PZ properties, right? PY status work is one such property. It's out of the box property which Pega uses to update statuses. Makes sense, guys? Are we able to understand? Pega uses predefined PY status work property to show the case or work object status. We just saw that. Perfect. Now let us try to, enough of this theory, right? We understand, yeah, you're talking about statuses. We know that the flow needs statuses. Let's try to jump one step ahead and see how exactly we can create a status in Pega. To understand that, like we have identified the problem. The problem is current flow which we have doesn't have a proper status management, right? Let's try to introduce some status management onto this flow. Okay, come on. Hmm, shouldn't have closed it. Perfect. Yeah. So now coming back to my work class. On my work class, there is a category called data model under which we created properties. Yes or no? We did create properties under data model category. There is also one more rule under data model. If you try right click on data model and click create, you will see something called as field value. Are we able to verify that? Right? Are you able to see field value rule? Right? Under the data model category, there is a field value rule which you can use to create. How can I also find out this? I can also go to records and I can expand the data model category and I can see there is a field value category of rules and I can see all the field value rules existing in this particular category. Does it make sense? Perfect. So now let us try to create a field value rule to, improve our flow and add some custom statuses to the corresponding assignments. So I'll say create on the data model and click on field value. Okay. Now it gives me what is that label you want for this particular field value. Let us say for the vehicle info, I want pending vehicle info. Let me give that pending hyphen vehicle info, and the field name which this will be mapped to is, what is the status mapped to on clipboard page? What is the status mapped to on the clipboard page? Py py status work. Very good. Py status work is the property to which this particular status will be attached to. So let me pick that, right? So someone is calling me because they're not. Oh my god, I'm sorry. So many people. My bad. Mhm. How come I'm not able to hear? Is everyone able to join? Yes, no? Perfect. Okay, no problem. So I'll just rephrase what we have covered so far. So we are trying to take a look at a new rule which is called as the field value rule. Why this rule is used is to fetch, sorry, to fetch statuses for a work object is what we are using this. We have identified a problem in our flow. What is that? If we see the flow which we had a certain problem. That was the flow which we identified a problem in our flow, and that was the statuses were not something which were going through in our work object. For example, when I try to run this flow, I see that there is a case ID which is generated. Forget about this side, just look at this side on the left side. And I see here that the one of the properties, the status, is showing as new. Why? Because the case just started, but right now it is on this particular assignment, customer info assignment, but the status is showing as new. Fine. Okay, let us try to understand this, and let me try to submit this and see what happens in the next screen. So when I submit this, now I am on the personal vehicle section, and I still see the name as the status as new. Okay, this is not something which is okay with me, because as we were discussing, in any order, for example, let me submit this also, and now this case got completed. Still the status is new. Are we able to see that? Yes, no. We are able to, we see this as a problem, right? Why? Because for example, if you order something on Amazon, and if that doesn't show you exact right status, for example, if he's out for delivery, and then if you still see the item is still in cart, that doesn't make sense. This flow also has that problem. Right now it tells, even though the flow got completed, we still see the status as new. To fix such sort of statuses, or to have predefined or user defined statuses, there is a property. For example, on this work object, what is the status? To see that on the clipboard, when I go to the clipboard, I see that there is a property called py status work, under which this particular status is being the value for the status is being held. See, py status work is new, right? Does it make sense, guys? Yes, no, right? So what we are trying to understand is, how can we fix that statuses within Pega when the given case should have has different assignments, different stages which it is going through from start to end. It is going to different stages. Whenever it is on a different stage, it should have that stage specific status. That's what we are trying to achieve here. To achieve that, that can be achieved through a rule called field value. That can be achieved through a rule called field value. What is field value? Field value is nothing but a rule which can be used to control the statuses of a work object. A work object is also called as, a work item or case. So the field value can also be referred as case status. Like when they ask you what is your order status in Amazon, and in Pega we would be referring that as what is your work status, what is your work object status, or we can also call it as a field value. To know the current status of your transaction, we will be using this. It's exactly similar to how you do your online transactions, right? For example, when you try to send some money to someone, sometimes it takes some time. Pending is what it tells. Pending transaction is pending, or pending verification, stuff like that. So when someone asks you, oh, I sent it, but it is still showing me pending verification. What is that pending verification? It's the status of your transaction, status of your work object, status of your case status, the your case status, right? Do we understand? Now we see that there is this problem in our flow, that our statuses are not reflecting exactly what it should be showing when it is on the corresponding stage. To fix that, what we did, we tried creating a status. How did we do that? We came on the app, to the work class, right clicked on the data model category, and then we told create a field value. Yes or no? Did we do that? We told create a field value, and then we wanted to give it a name. What is the name? For example, if it is pending at for vehicle information, then I want to see something called as pending hyphen vehicle info. Here I am trying to create a field value rule, and the status I am expecting is this. But what is the property to which the status is mapped to in a work object? Py status work. Yes or no? Right? Py status work. That is what it is mapped to. So two fields to be updated here. One, the label, what exact custom status you want to see that thing, and what property are you mapping it with. Here we are working with statuses, so we want to change the status to user friendly or something which user can understand. This will help us user to understand, right? Exactly where this particular screen is, held on. Let us create this. This is for vehicle information. If the vehicle information is pending in my flow, then I do have a field value created. See, we are successfully able to create a field value, right? Yes or no? Are we able to create? Yes or no, guys? Right? And you can update it here as well. Pending hyphen vehicle info. Perfect. So now what we created is good for one status. Which status is it good for? If you come and see this section, for vehicle info it is fine, but customer info is still pending, right? Let's try to create one more field value. When the user is on this customer info screen, he should see pending customer info. Let us try to do that as well, right? How do I do that? I right click on this thing and click on field value, right? And then I say pending hyphen cust info. Which value will I be referring here? Do I status work, right? Yes or no? Are you able to understand? Perfect. So now we have successfully created the statuses we are expecting. We only created two though, right? For in the customer flow, we just created two. One for vehicle info, one for customer info. Okay, customer info. Perfect. So these two statuses are done. But if you see, a flow has start, first assignment, which is customer info. I do have a status for that. Second assignment, I do have a status for that. And then once it is completed, I want to call it as result completed. That's what I want to do. But let us see how exactly we can do that. So now let me start with when the flow kick starts. When it starts, what should be the status? To see what should be the status, I have to click on the start shape in my flow. When I click on the start shape, try to do a double click. You should see properties. Come on. Or I can right click also, I guess. So, perfect. This being a personal edition, sometimes it is slow. So you'll also see that latency. Don't worry about that. Perfect. So now when I opened, double click on the start shape, what all things do I see? Do I see something which talks about the status of this flow? Yes or no? And but we didn't define any status for this thing, right? We defined for assignment and this thing. Also what we discussed was Pega has some predefined statuses, right? Pega has some predefined statuses, in the sense something which is common out of the box, which you can use for anything. Any flow has to start. Yes or no? Any flow has a start. It is nothing but what is the case when it starts? It is new. If I click on the drop down, you will see the custom statuses we have created. Pending customer info. Is this the field value role we created? Right? But this is not the right value here. So what I will do, I'll click on more to see what other statuses are there. Well, when I come down, these are existing predefined statuses which Pega automatically is providing me. I can use these also. Here I see that there is a status called new. New is more appropriate for start, right? When it's starting, the case status is new. Yes or no? Do you agree? Right? Okay, let me choose new here. So now I understood how I can use predefined statuses on my flow. I was able to double click on the start shape and I saw that there is a status option under which I was able to point the work status to new. Now my start shape status is done. This is good. I don't have to worry. I can say OK and the status is updated here. Perfect. Similarly, if I come to the next assignment, which is a customer info assignment, this is where I want to tell the user that, hey, when you are here, that means that you have the status of this particular assignment is pending customer information, which means whenever the user opens this case, he will see that, oh, it is pending with me. The customer information has to be provided. Does it tell that? When he sees the status, it gives him that idea, right? Yes or no? Right? So this is how very important for you guys. How will you update statuses for a in a flow is something which will be asked. So for start shape, you just double click and you were able to do it. But if you see on assignment shape here on the top, you're not seeing any option to select the statuses. So what do? You just come down, scroll down and you will see there is something called as assignment details. Under the advanced section, there is something called as assignment details. And in that assignment details, you will see work status. I'll cancel this, coming back again. So we successfully understood how to create field value rules in Pega, and we wanted to use those field value rules to update statuses of my workflow. To do that, we were able to set the status of the on the start button as new, because it's a predefined status which Pega gives. Now, once I was done with that, I wanted to go to the assignment shape and I wanted to set the status. But when I double clicked and opened the assignment shape, I see there is no option to do that. However, when I slide down, I see that there is an option called advanced, under which there is a collapsible called assignment details. When I expand this, I see there is work status here. Are we able to identify that? Perfect. Now, here, when I come, I should be able to refer to that particular status which I want here. Very important. Are we able to understand, guys? What is my status here? Let us see. Let me try to come use the drop down. Now, if you see, there is this customer information and vehicle information. What goes here? Customer information goes here, right? Pending customer information. Whenever the user is here, you should see the status that this is pending for customer information. So it gives understanding to the user that he has to fill the data here. Why? Because it is pending with him, who is the customer. Are we able to choose that here? Yes? No? All we are doing is we created a custom status and we were able to point to that through the assignment shape. Where will you go and modify custom statuses or user defined statuses in your flow? We will be going on assignment shape, right? We clicked on this assignment shape and then we modified that. Yes or no? Perfect. Similarly, here also I'll be doing the same thing, right? On the personal vehicle information assignment also, I can do the same thing. I can come down and I will have assignment details collapsible here, which I can expand, and I'll see the work status here, and I can choose vehicle information, same thing, and submit. So now I was able to update one, two, three places with my custom status for my workflow. However, once this case is over, if you see, it was also showing, even when we closed it, it is showing the status as new, which means that the delete step also has a certain status which we can specify. Let us try to double click and check. See, right now it has no status. The delete shape has no status. We can specify a status here, right? Yes or no? When it is at the end, what we are saying is this is resolved and completed. At the end, we are saying that, hey, this particular workflow which we are working on got resolved, or it is completed. I am done with this. It is so much better than showing him new status for a closed item. Yes or no? Do we understand, guys? Perfect. So now I'll say submit. I have successfully created field value rules, understood why field value rules are needed, and I have updated the statuses for different assignment shapes as well as start and end shape. Now that this is done, let's try to verify our work, right? Time to verify our work. Let me run this. Did you see, for a brief period the status was new and then it got changed to pending customer info? Yes or no? Why? Because right now the customer, the user screen is pointing to the customer info assignment, which means assignment is what? In daily life, assignment is something which the student has to complete and go. Similarly, when you are in a workflow, assignment is a shape where the user has to take some action. Any user who is associated with this screen has to take some action. That is why we put that status on the assignment. That is a very basic understanding which everyone needs to have. That is why whenever the user comes to the screen, he will see, oh, okay, this status is pending customer information, which means the customer has to take some action, right? Customer has to fill these details is what we are saying, right? I'm saying, hey, customer, you have to update these details. Yes or no? Of course, Bangalore, and then we sourced this with report definition yesterday. See, still working fine as a charm. Perfect. Right, now that we are done with these details, when I go further, say submit, see, it is telling pending vehicle info, which makes sense, right? Right now it is, the vehicle information is pending here. It is not yet updated. Does it make sense? Yes or no? Right. Silence. No. Perfect. Do you see how the statuses have been traveling? Sorry, from start to end. We see that the statuses are moving. Wow. Now your case got completed because the user, he had certain tasks in this. He completed that. Now the status of this particular case is telling resolved completed. Does it make sense, guys? Yes, no, perfect. So the takeaway from today's class is, yes, there is a field value rule which exists, which can be utilized to, for example, to update the statuses. We use the field value rule to create these two rules: pending customer info, pending vehicle info, and we gave user defined statuses. We defined the statuses here. We also used out of the box statuses. On my start shape and end shape, I am using out of the box statuses, and on my assignment shapes, I am using the predefined statuses, sorry, the user defined statuses, which is pending customer information and pending vehicle information. Yes. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Statuses. Yes, yes, yes. Yes, we have created, right? The first thing we did is, okay, no problem. So what we did as soon as we started, we right clicked on the data model category and we told create and we told field value. And that's what it gave us, a form like this where we chose what label we want for that particular property, and then we chose what property holds that value. How did we know which property holds this particular value? We opened the work object and accessed our clipboard. Now when you see the clipboard for this particular thing, for example, the POI work page here, and do control F, POI status work. See, it is resolved, completed. Does it make sense, guys? In the previous case, it was telling new, 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 which is not what I want. But this is how you should be identifying what are the gaps in your current flow and improving them. Was this thing understood? Field value rules. Perfect. So that was a takeaway from today's class. All we had to understand today was how do we create a field value rule? How exactly, once I create that, where exactly can I utilize it? See, we started with the bare minimum flow. We know where exactly sections go. We know where exactly flow actions go. We know, where exactly properties go, how exactly you can source a certain property. You can do it through report definition, you can do it through clipboard page, right? How exactly you can create and access them. If you guys are not speaking, I would recommend you stay on mute. Thank you. Okay. Yes. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes, that is a different topic. The topic which you are discussing is decisioning, where you want the flow to take certain decisions. And of course, when you take a certain path in the decision, then the status will also change. It's as good as, for example, you wake up and you decide what you want to have for breakfast. You have cereal as well as you have upma. Then you are going to decide, do I eat cereal or do I eat upma? That's a path which you will be taking, which can be designed using decision shapes from your workflow. That is out of scope from today's class. Today's class is purely focused on how you can create field values and how you can map them in your flow. If you guys have any questions, I can take them pertaining to this thing. Yes, because I'm taking a look at who all have joined. That's why you're seeing that. Is every is everyone facing the same thing? Okay, that's strange. Only when I'm okay. Okay, perfect. That's fine. Mm-hmm. You can use, but you have to identify a use case. If you see our use case, predominantly it is only used for to update the statuses, only to update the status. If there is any unique use case, if you can come up with a use case, then you can of course use that. But like 90% of cases, it is only the the status of the work object or the case is what you will be updating using the field values. Don't you think it is really important? Like if you see, Amazon's workflow entirely is driven by that. You don't know what is happening at the back end, who is shipping or whatever. You always are concerned about, is it out for delivery? Don't we do that? Even with our Zomato orders, don't we say, oh, did the delivery start? Mm-hmm. You That's why I'm telling you, you should have a use case where you can use this particular field value rule. Right now, if you see 90% of applications in Pega, they only use it for statuses of cases. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes, yeah, we can do that. We can do that. I'm not sure how long you have been with us, but we are having a structured learning process here. And then right now we have just explored till the flow. So we are here. Going further, we do have classes where we'll be scratching the case management part, where we'll be creating the stages, and we'll be creating cases, and we'll be modifying them there as well. No problem. No problem. Mhm. Yes, the field values. Mm-hmm. Yes, yes, yeah, yeah, you can do it. Yes, you can use field values. Yes. Mm-hmm. Report definition doesn't have a way to call activity. Yes, but you can call a report definition from an activity. You can call a report definition from an activity, but from a report definition, you can't call an activity. Fetching data, yes, that's right. No problem. Any other questions, guys?